Who have been the best #1 AFL draft picks in order from 1 to 24 since 2000. That's right, in the 21st century, I'm going to be going through every year's #1 draft pick and then ordering them from 1 to 24. And spoiler, these #1 picks are quite interesting. We're going to start from 24th, saving #1 to the very end. In 24th, I'm going with Jonathan Patton, who was originally drafted to the GWS Giants, and then his career went horribly downhill at the Hawthorn Football Club. Patton didn't even manage 100 games, only playing 95. He did kick 133 goals, but unfortunately it was a career that had a lot of controversy surrounding it. Now before we get into the rest of the top 24, I'm going to specify that this is a list based off body of work, what they did whilst they were playing AFL. Did they live up to the hype? For a lot of the new draftees, do I think they're going to live up to the hype, trying to project that future? Because, you know, obviously Harley Reid being the newest drafty, he's only played 5, 6, 7, 8 games, so I can't really put him higher than a lot of the ones who've played 100, 150. So just to make it a little bit more exciting for those players who haven't played many games, I'm projecting, assuming what they're going to be. How good of a young player do they look? What's their talent? How much, technical ability do they have? So we're taking that into account, as well as obviously for those who've kept playing or who have retired, games played, goals, accolades, the whole lot. So let's keep moving through. In 23rd spot, I have got Tom Boyd. Now, Tom Boyd is one of the few premiership winning players from this list. He did win the flag for the Dogs. Also, a little bit like John Patton, originally drafted to the GWS Giants. It didn't go right for him. Both were forwards that failed at GWS, but Tom Boyd did have a little bit of success at the Western Bulldogs, where he kicked that remarkable goal in the grand final from 70 metres out, BT going, fuck! He only played 61 games, he kicked 50 goals, an unfortunate career, but because of that just great grand final performance, I'm putting him above John Patton. And the reasons why he left as well, mental health reasons and also just sick of the game. In 22nd spot, I got a player who, started up forward as well, drafted to the St Kilda Football Club, another really unfortunate career, went to Sydney and his career was getting back on track, but it's concussion this time that stopped him from achieving his potential. I've got Paddy McCartan. Now, Paddy McCartan is one of the saddest stories in the AFL. This kid had so many concussions and, the unfortunate reality is he had to retire for his own well-being. It was just too dangerous. Now, Paddy McCartan played 63 games, just 2 more than Tom Boyd and a little bit less than John Patton. But once again, it's a career that was just tarnished. He was so exciting, and that's unfortunately why he finds himself in 22nd. In 21st place, it's maybe quite low for this guy, but you know what? I'm being ruthless with these drafts. I've got Jack Watts in 21st place, which might sound completely ludicrous, but when you hear the rest of the, the draft or #1 draft picks, you'll understand why. Now, Jack Watts had such a frustrating career. This guy, any #1 draft pick, there's so much expectation on them, but I feel like he was a little bit different. He was meant to be the savior of the Melbourne Football Club, and he completely failed. Went to Port Adelaide and had some controversy there with some off-field incidents. For him, he played 174 games, 161 goals, had a decent career, all things considering, but just so disappointing. #1 draft picks tend to be quite disappointing, but it is worth saying that a lot of these players did have really good careers, which makes sense because, they were tipped to be the best player in the competition at some point, going at #1, and yet no one really lives up to it. In 20th, I've got Aaron Cadman. He was drafted in 2022, the GWS Giants. He's played, nearly 20 games. At the time recording, probably 20 to 21, 22, depending on if he's making the side. He's only kicked around 14 goals. Unfortunately for him, he's just not as exciting as some other recent #1 draft picks, which is why I have him here. I couldn't put him any higher because he's barely played. I also did not want to put him below Watts, McCartan, Boyd, Patton, those sort of ones, because I feel like he's going to be a better player. And this is the first example of someone who's just starting out. I'm projecting their future. He could be one of the best of this list after his career's done. We don't know. But I'm just, I'm making a prediction. In 19th place, I've got Tom Scully. A really, really frustrating career. A little bit like Jack Watts as well. He's a 3-club player playing for GWS, Melbourne, which is where he was drafted at. Most of his body of work and his bulk of success was found at GWS. And then later on at Hawthorn, where he had that little incident with John Patton as well, both retiring soon after. He didn't quite get to 200 games, playing 187 games. He kicked the 89 goals, 23 Brownlow votes. He did get 2 All-Australian 40s. So not the All-Australian teams, but the original 40, 2016 and 2017, which isn't really an accolade, let's be real. So we're going to pretty much say he didn't make it. In 18th place, I've got a ruckman, one of the few and only the only ruckman on this list. I've got Matty Cruiser, who played 189 games with the Carlton Football Club. He was an exciting prospect. 2017, he made the 40 of the All-Australian list as well, but not the final team, so not really an accolade there. He did kick 94 goals. Another frustrating career through injury, which, you know, he can't do anything about that. A little bit like Paddy McCartan. He was an exciting player for Carlton. I don't know why Carlton picked him at number 1. You never pick a ruck at number 1. That's like the golden rule. Because as you all know, you don't need a ruck to win a premiership. But Matty Cruiser had a decent career, 189, so didn't quite get to 200 games, and that's why he's in 18th place. In 17th place, we've got Jamara Ugle-Hagan. Now, there is a little bit of a caveat to this. He's played around 50 odd games, you know, at the time of recording. Once again, depends on when I release this, probably up towards 55, 60. He kicks over a goal a game, probably around 70, but averaging 1 and a bit, you know, 1.2, 1.3 goals a game. Don't get me wrong, he's really exciting, but I do think there are some more exciting talents there. Sometimes I watch him play and I'm just not quite sure if he's even in the top 10 forwards in the comp. And yes, he's still young, was drafted in 2020, but I just don't feel like there's much competition up forward for the Dogs, and I feel like he should have already been taking that spot, making it his own. There are a lot of rumours about where he's going to go to. Will he stay at the Dogs, go to Sydney, go to Hawthorn, go here, go there, go everywhere? We're not really sure as of yet, but there's always rumours around number 1 draft picks. Not sure what's going on with his contract there, but fortunately I couldn't put him much higher, but he's definitely could find himself in the top 5 at the end of his career. At number 16, I've got Matthew Rowell. Now, Matthew Rowell is a phenomenal talent. 2023, at the time of recording, is, you know, round 5, 6. He is hitting the ground really well, becoming a really good player. Before he got injured in his first year, you know, the first sort of 3-4 games, he was arguably best player in the competition, which is mental to say. He was great. The injuries have really stopped him. He doesn't have much confidence in his body, but I think he's starting to get it back. His shoulders are good. Everything's starting to get better. Matty Rowell, for me, he could have easily been in the top 10, which is saying something, but it's pretty risky to put someone in the top 10 based off a prediction when you think about the top 10 list. The reason I've dropped him down to 16 is maybe he's never going to win an accolade because his football game isn't attacking. It's very much, and that's not me saying that makes him a worse player. I just think in terms of those accolades for a midfield at the moment, they're favoured towards those more mid-forward players, the Petrarcas, the Bontempellis, those who can go up forward and impact. I also think on the basis that Noah Anderson is in a leadership group and has had a better career thus far, it doesn't look great for him. I think he could get a good move, maybe to Tassie when they join. I believe he's a Carlton fan, so maybe he'll go there. But super exciting career ahead of him. Played 66 games, kicked around 20 goals. Good player. In 15th place, I've got Cam Rayner. People forget about him because of his injury in 2023. I think he did his ACL, so didn't play the whole year. He is super exciting. I think he could be the real deal. The real fucking deal. He's coming off, at the time of recording, he just came off a career best game against the Melbourne Football Club. The reason I have him above Rowell is I think he's more exciting. I think he's got more X factor, he's more versatile, midfield forward line, and I think he's more of a game winner, which is why I have him above. He's played 120 odd games. He's kicking around a goal a game, a little bit less at 110. He's exciting. 2017 draft year. So he's very much in his prime or about to reach that prime. And that's why he's in 15th place. On to 14th place, I've got Andy McGrath. Andy McGrath is a frustrating footballer. Some people rate him really highly. I personally don't. I don't think he's that good. I'm going to be completely honest. He was drafted in 2016. He's played around 140 odd games. He's only kicked the 20 goals, but he does play as a main sort of defender. Can roll through the midfield though. So, which is a bit of an ugly position when it comes to on the eye. He won the Rising Star in 2017. One of the few to win the Rising Star. Yeah, I mean, just a decent midfielder defender. Nothing too special about that. Because he's played nearly 150 games, I felt like I couldn't put him that low. In 13th place, I've got Jason Horne-Francis. Now, Jason Horne-Francis was drafted in 2021. He's only played just under 50 games, kicking around a goal every 2 games, around 25. Super exciting. Super exciting. At North, it was frustrating. Goes to Adelaide, he's clearly happy now. He could rip the competition up in the next couple of years. That's how good he is. So strong, so fast, so explosive. The skills are there as well. He is the one. Now, this is very much you know, the factors on 13th above the McGraths and stuff is based on prediction. Obviously, McGrath's had a better career because he's been playing more. I think Horn Francis, by the time he gets to sort of 25, 26, when McGrath, Rayner are, he will be head and shoulders above them. But because I can't predict like he's going to be that good, I haven't put him much higher. In 3-4 years when I make this video again, I reckon I'll put him in the top 5. In 12th place, I've got Harley Reid, who's played a handful of games for the West Coast Eagles. And whatever round it is, that's how many games he's played pretty much. He is the real deal. I mean, Bontempelli regen, Dusty regen. If you thought Jason Horne-Francis was exciting, Harley Reid's taken it to another level. He is crazy good. So good. Fuck me. Silky, the left boot as well. Strong, explosive, everything you want in a midfielder. The only slight doubt is will he reach his potential at the Eagles? He's looking like he's going to leave. Like the whole saga when he got drafted there, does he want to go there? I think there's always an element of truth behind those stories. He probably won't want to stay there forever. And the West Coast Eagles are a terrible team. But he's so exciting, and because of that prediction and what we're seeing at the moment of him, he could make it to the Brownlow levels. In 11th place, I've got David Swallow, 224 games, over 100 goals, 2014 best and fairest. Very good player, consistent player. 25 Brownlow votes. Overall deserves that sort of 11th place, but in 5 years he'll drop way down as the younger guys get up there. In 10th place, I've got Bryce Gibbs. Bryce Gibbs is one of the most underrated players, I reckon, for the last 20 years. Nearly 300 games, 268 for both Carlton and the Adelaide Crows, where his career really dipped after a year there. 152 goals, 89 Brownlow votes, best and fairest in 2014. Made the 2014 All-Australian 40 list as well, and then a Maggery Award in 2021. Super good player, super consistent. Probably unfortunate for him that Carlton didn't have success, which is maybe why he's a little bit forgotten, but I really rate him such a consistent and good player. In 9th place, I've got Lachie Whitfield. Now, Lachie Whitfield has had a lot of issues in his career. Some big suspensions at the beginning of his career, I should say. Over 200 games, 220 counting, so over 70 goals, nearly 60 Brownlow votes, 2018 All-Australian team, best and fairest in 2018, best and fairest in 2020. We're starting to get into the realm of players who are really good. Lachie Whitfield, I think, is also super underrated, can play multiple positions, on the wing, rolling half back. He's exciting, he's a great kick, and I think the GWS system really relies on him performing. In 8th place, I have our first current Brownlow winner. We've got Adam Cooney, who won that amazing unsuspected Brownlow in 2008, also made the All-Australian, AFLC Young Player of the Year in 2005, and made the All-Australian 40 2 years later in 2010. Really exciting X-Factor player, 250 games, predominantly for the Western Bulldogs, also for the Essendon Football Club, where he kicked over 200 goals and got 86 Brownlow votes, loads of Brownlow votes, a little bit less than Bryce Gibbs, and has also played less games, but purely on the basis that he's won that Brownlow, I feel like you have to put him above Bryce Gibbs. He is one for the ages. He is a cultured player, streets won't forget player, and that's why he's in 8th place. In 7th place, I've got Brett Delidio, one of the unfortunate stories in the AFL where he spends his whole career, his whole life at Richmond where he's loved. He carries us, you know, he carries Richmond on his back for so many years, and as soon as he leaves, Richmond go and win the flag, and they win 3 and 4 years, which he would have been a part of at least one of those, which is super unfortunate. 275 games, 197 goals, 78 Brownlow votes, 2012 All-Australian, 2015 All-Australian, Rising Star in 2005, Richmond Best and Fairest in 2008 and 9, AFLPA first in 2005, and made the All-Australian 40 list, not the actual list, but the 40 in 2008, 10, and 11. Very underrated career. Just the calf issues, the lower leg issues at GWS stopped him from winning anything. Streets won't forget him either. Great right boot, could absolutely punt a ball, exciting player, and he, one of the most underrated Richmond players of my time, finds himself in 7th place. I'm shooting to the moon here. In 6th place, I have got Sam Walsh. Sam Walsh, who has played over 100 games, kicked around 40 goals, and already has 63 Brownlow votes. He got drafted in 2018. He made the All-Australian in 2021. He won the Rising Star in his first year in 2019. Best and Fairest in 2021. Gary Ayres Award in 2023, which is the Best Finals Player, which is an award I value very highly. To be the Best Big Game Player Award effectively, Best Finals Player, is something that I think is so important for a player, and I value so highly, because the big games, that's where it matters. So that's a massive award. AFLC Young Player of the Year 2020, AFLPA First in 2019, and he made the 40 list of the All-Australian in 2022. Super injured last year, so he didn't do much. He's already starting well this year after coming back from injury. He's going to cook. Harley Reid and Horne-Francis can get to that level, but I think Sam Walsh is at that level, which is why he's so much further up, because it's not a prediction anymore. This guy is guaranteed to play 300 odd games, win a couple flags, and probably a Brownlow. In his like third or fourth year, whatever, he finished equal third. He got like 30 Brownlow votes. He's ridiculously good. Ridiculously good. Quick, exciting, deceptively strong, smart. He's everything you want in a player, and he just seems like a fucking good bloke. But I rate him. I'm one of Sam Walsh's biggest lovers. Used to work at a gelato place where he would come and buy some ice creams. Bit of random trivia for you, but he's in 6th place. But his Carlton teammate is one ahead of him, 5th place, Mark Murphy, who was a leader. He played 300 games, some of which were as a captain at the Carlton Football Club, 197 goals, 114 Brownlow votes. 2011 All-Australian, AFL-CA 2011, 2011 and 2017 Best and Fairest for Carlton, and a couple more awards, AFL-PF First in 2006 and the AA All-Australian 40 in 2009. Loads of highlights, loads of lowlights. He was playing in a really tough era, as was Bryce Gibbs and Matty Cruiser. Mark Murphy gives me sort of Sam Walsh vibes. Sam Walsh will overtake him as a player, you would think, but 300 games. I mean, that has to be top 5. No debate about it. Influential, great player, great midfielder. A leader as well, which is an attribute I'm keeping into account. In 4th place, I have got the St Kilda and Essendon great high-flying grand final specialist, Brendan Goddard, who was drafted in 2002 to the St Kilda Football Club. He played 334 games. Wow! 160 goals and 77 Brownlow votes. The lack of Brownlow votes is because he played a lot of defence, so let's not read into that too much. He was All-Australian in 2009 and 2010. He was a best first win in 2013. Should have won a flag. He didn't win a flag. I think the thing with Brendan Goddard is we all remember him for that mark in the grand final 2010, the first one, not the rematch, where we all thought that was the catalyst, the point where they were going to win St Kilda. They didn't, which sucks for him. Streets won't forget player as well. So consistent. He went to Essendon when they were, recovering from that drug saga, and he really nurtured those young players. And I think that was probably the most impressive I've seen in his career because of how hard that would have been. To be that older, experienced head, to have that responsibility at a club like that who was going through so much turmoil and pain, with so many new young players, and obviously one of the worst lists in history because of all the suspensions that were going on, was awfully impressive from him. I do rate him really highly. I wouldn't be mad if you put Mark Murphy ahead of him, but I'm a big fan of Goddard, and I think if I had to take Goddard or Murphy in my team for their whole career, I would just rather Goddard. He's a better player in his position. Also shooting to the stars, I am choosing in 3rd place for every #1 draft pick, redrafted since 2000, Jacob Vitorin, who was only drafted in 2015. He's played over around 170 games, only 11 goals, and only the 9 Brownlow votes, but he is a defender. He's a fullback. He did a little bit of forward here and there, but mainly he's played as a defender. He's been top 3 defenders in the league for the last 3-4 years, and I think the reason why I've got him so high is I think he's going to play over 300 games as well. He's a leader. He won the 2020 and 2023 Best and Fairest, arguably best key defender last year, or best defender full stop, and he keeps going. He keeps going, so reliable, so consistent, and I think in his position, one of the best we've seen, and I also think his position is one of the hardest to be one of the best, that key defender role, as well as a leader. He's made the All-Australian 40 list from 2020, 21, 22, and 2023 as well. Now, unfortunately, he won't get the Brownlow votes or the goals, all those sort of other accolades, but if there's a Golden Fist award, he would have won at least one by now. And I think just projecting in the future, I think he will be, for 10 years, maybe for another, maybe 7 years, he will be best defender in the league. I honestly think that. In 2nd place, I've got Nick Riewoldt. This is non-negotiable. 336 games, 718 goals, 153 Brownlow votes, All-Australian 2004, 6, 8, 9, and 2014, Rising Star that year in 2002, Most Valuable Player in 2004, Best and Fairest in 2002, 2004, 06, 07, 09, and 2014, All-Australian 40 list in 07, 12, and 13. Fortunately, didn't win the flag. I mean, that's just really fucking unfortunate. So far, interesting from this whole list, only one player's won a flag, Tom Boyd. No one else has. I don't know what's the curse of #1 draft picks, but they don't win flags. Nick Riewoldt, one of the most courageous players, one of the greatest marks we've ever seen for St Kilda. Versatile, could play on the wing. Many forget how good he was at the wing. Not just a great versatile key forward. Loads of goals, big game player. great leader, captain of the club, arguably St Kilda's greatest players of all time, arguably one of the best forwards for the last 20 years, number 2. And that brings us to number 1. This guy was All-Australian in 2005, 2008 and 2010. He won an 05 and 2010 Best and Fairest. He's won 2 Norm Smiths, so a massive big game player in 2008 and 2014. He also won 4 premierships, 2008 and the 3-peat for Hawthorn, 2013, 2014, 2015. It is Luke fucking Hodge. Holy shit. This guy has won everything under the fucking sun. Gee whiz. Like I said, big game player. It's Mr. September. Full stop. He's played 346 games, so quite interestingly, he has played the most games. He's kicked 194 goals as a defender midfielder, and he has 131 Brownlow votes. Phenomenal player, one of the best we'll ever see, one of the greatest leaders we'll ever see. Even when he went to Brisbane, he was commanding from the back. Mate, he could still play to this day. Yes, he would be physically awful, but his footy IQ was so high that he would still, I reckon, make it into like a West Coast team, which is fucked. Such a good player. I don't really need to talk much about that. He's easily number 1, and I think Nick Revolt's easily number 2. The rest of the list is pretty much up to you when you do consider, making those predictions of young players. So 2000, 2001, 2002, Brendan Goddard, they are the big dogs. But that's pretty much it. That is my redraft from every number 1 draft pick since 2000, all the way up to 2024. Let me know in the comments what you think I've gone wrong. What would your redraft be for this list? A little bit different, but I hope you enjoyed. Comment down below what your thoughts are. Do you want more content like this? Make sure you follow the TikTok FTFooty, and I'll be seeing you in another video.